Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be talking about Teen Wolf the movie. Fun fact, the show that this movie extends from is a loose adaptation of the 1985 film by the same name starring Michael J. Fox. This film came out in 2023 and stars Tyler Posey, Crystal Reed, and Tyler Hoechlin, and was directed by Russell Mulcahy. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Teen Wolf the movie picks up with Scott and the rest of the group, now adults, having visions of Allison, who was killed by the Oni in a previous season of the TV show. This leads the gang to be reunited back in Beacon Hills, and while they do free Allison, they also release an old evil that they faced before, and they must join together and figure out how to stop it again. Teen Wolf, the movie, is an action love story that is very reminiscent of the TV show that some of us grew up watching. It has similar vibes to Teen Wolf, the TV show, The Order, or the originals. There was a fair share of drama behind the scenes of this movie, which I think seeped into the production of the movie. With it being on streaming, they were a little bit more open to allowing cuss words and showing a little bit of bareback. The movie is really a fan service, and for people who watched the show and just wanted a little bit more, while it also seemed like it was being used to push the new show Wolfpack. I love that this movie was like a mini reunion, and we got to see so many characters return, but there were some big gaps that were really missing. Before this movie came out, I knew that Styles and Kira weren't coming back, who were played by Dylan O'Brien and Arden Cho, respectfully. Styles was like the heart of the show, and not having him in this film was very noticeable. And to further drive a stake through our hearts, they showed his Jeep that if you ever watched the show, you would never believe that he would just have left it there because it seemed like it was a car that was like his child and it would have been a piece of him that he would have always kept. Kira was a big part of the later seasons, and honestly, it seemed like the whole role of Hikaru was written for Kira, and instead of paying her accordingly, they just decided to tweak the role a bit and give it to someone else. I just feel that when you're doing a reboot or an extension or some type of fan service event like this movie, you should really try to get as much or all of the original cast back and work hard to do it, especially for two characters that had such a big part in the success of the show. With some characters in this movie, it seemed like they really didn't have a role for them, but wanted to add them, or they didn't know how to properly introduce them back into the story, and they would literally just pop up. I think with so many characters, it made the film a little all over the place, and a lot of them are supernatural and didn't even get to really show off what their abilities are. Like Jackson, for example, makes his return, and we never see this poison tail that he has, and he talks about it in the movie, but instead he spends like 90% of the movie complaining, which honestly I could have done without, and instead made his character more useful. Also, a cameo I wasn't expecting was Allison's mom. Like that was just random. I love seeing Derek return in this film. I think him staying though in Beacon Hills was kind of a far stretch because it seems like in the show that town only brought him pain, but I guess it is where his family was from. I like that Derek had a son who was a werewolf, and even though they had a strained relationship, he was trying to get through to him and teach him how to be a good werewolf. And even though he didn't have someone who really taught him, he was trying to be there for his son. I was sad that he died in the end, but he got to become a true alpha right before he died. I did really enjoy that we got Allison back in this movie. I really liked her in the show and was glad that she was able to come back in a way that kind of made sense. I always feel like in these shows that are dealing with the supernatural, that you can just bring someone back to life and people will ask some questions, but not a lot. I feel like the villain in this movie is the most intense one that they had from the show, but also kind of made the storyline seem a bit reused. The teacher who was the side villain as well was someone that I didn't really recognize and honestly thought he was a new character, but came to find out that he was actually in the show for like 3 seasons, but he wasn't a main cast character. I think they should have found a way to make the villain seem more prepared because this is the second time around he's faced this group and he's still lost. I think my favorite part of this movie is when they kill the villain and Derek is sacrificed in the moment. In that moment, it made me remember just how much I enjoyed Derek as a character when they were showing flashbacks and how it was sad, but he did it for the greater good. He got to see the thing that he most wanted to see, which was his son overcoming his fear and being able to transform, and was able to say his goodbyes to his son. It was a sad moment, but I felt like it made me have more of an emotional attachment to the movie. Even though I felt bad for his son Eli, I'm glad that in the moment when they all make it back onto the lacrosse field and they're all hugging it out, they surround him with love and let him know that even though like his father is gone, he still has a family. Teen Wolf the movie was really for the fans, but it definitely hit some bumps along the road. The ending of the movie honestly had me thinking that we would be getting a spin-off focusing on Eli and Beacon Hills, and I thought that's what the Wolfpack was, but come to find out that that show does not in fact take place in Beacon Hills and is just a spin-off of the TV series. I think if you watch Teen Wolf, the show, that you should watch this film, but if you didn't watch the show, then you can just skip this movie. Thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. If you have not subscribed, please do so you can keep up to date with more of my videos. But besides that, everyone stay safe, have fun, and goodbye.